episode 57 of Missle Ford Falcon 351 Crusty Wagon project. Now, as a bit of a change of scenery, the car is under the house, and the reason the car is under the house today is because it's roadworthy inspection day. And the guy has come and gone and left me with a list of things I need to address. Now, I could have kept faffing around doing this and that to figure out what I needed, all the while being unsure of what I actually needed, or I could have just got a roadworthy inspection and had the guy spell it out to me. So that's what he's done, and he's told me all the things I need to address, and I'll go over those things on this video. And the first thing the guy did, he immediately walked up to the car and went straight to the back of the manifold where the oil pressure sensor is and said, "There's a puddle of oil right here." I was like, damn it! He said, "Yeah, that's going to need to be addressed." And I looked, and there was a puddle of oil right there. Like a number of you commented on those cork gasket seals for the inlet manifold gasket, I believe you were probably right on the money, and that back gasket has not done the job, and I'm going to need to do the wall of RTV to get it to work. And while he was casually observing the inside of the engine bay, he noted the heater hoses were missing and the fireball bung for the wiring harness was also missing. And what else did he say? Needs seat belts. There's some other thing too. Oh, back seat has a split in it. These are all minor things, so it's not that big a deal. But overall he was pretty satisfied with it, but there is still a list of things that need to be addressed. Minor things. There won't be any roadworthy certificate until probably much later, and then I'll get the car registered. But I am getting closer to getting it registered, so that's great news. So I should probably put the car back into the garage and get it back up on axle stands, because the work's not over yet, and I need the car to be up here so I can work on it, not down here where I can't reach it. In other news, the wagon clears my horrendous driveway with only a tiny amount of scrapage, with no ramps or assistance of any kind, which is a vast improvement over the sedan, which scrapes its belly out big time. Even when I add ramps, it still does a little bit of scraping, but the scrapage of the much longer wagon is kind of comparable to the sedan, with a whole lot of extra ramps and blocks of timber to get it over the hump. So I could conceivably daily drive this, because access to the driveway on this car is acceptable. It's not perfect, but it's acceptable. And that's another one of the unknowns that this car has always had hanging over its head since I bought it. Can I get out of the driveway? And it seems that I can get out of the driveway. So that is terrific news. Hardly any scrapage.
Just a little.
A little bit of scrapage. That's way better than the sedan. The sedan's like... Okay, it's over a week since my roadworthy inspection, and a great deal of things have been going on behind the scenes. But I need to get back to working on the wagon so that I can complete the last part of this journey complete the roadworthy and get the car registered. So I have a new one of these because this one, the spring is gone, and I just clicked to buy it now to solve that problem. Got a new one of these, new one of those, freshly anodised. My headlight assembly buckets aren't retained with springs or even decent condition screws, so I ordered another kit for that. What else do I have to do? I've bought a driver's side seatbelt because that's the one that failed the roadworthy, and they were readily available at a shop called Seat Safe in Willawong, about 6 kilometres drive from where I live. So I got myself a driver's side seat kit to suit the sedan with the bench seat, sedan or wagon. So I also need to pull the inlet manifold off the car and do the RTV gasket wall. Now I've got yet another gasket kit up there to do the inlet manifold, and I will also block off the EGR plates that put hot air up into the manifold under the carpet, because it's in Queensland and it's pretty much stinking hot at least half the year and nice for the other half of the year, so I don't really need any kind of what do they call it in the comments, a crematorium underneath my carburetor. So that manifold has to come back off again, the carb has to come back off. I need to redo all that. I haven't checked my supply of RTV. I'm sure I bought a full tube of that recently, but first things first, I'm going to pull the grille off the front of the car again and refresh my headlight buckets. I do need to do something about the park light bulbs too. So that's where I'm at with that. I seem to recall there weren't any little windows in the back of my sealed beams. If I look there, I don't see any windows. I'm going to take the glass back out of those fittings and redo them all again, because obviously when I threw them all together months ago now, I didn't have any retaining springs and I didn't have the proper plastic fittings to locate the screws, so it all kind of went together in a bit of a haphazard manner. So anyway, grille, manifold, seatbelt, this thing here. I've got some heater hoses and things to steal from the engine bay in the wagon project. Oh, not the wagon, in the coupe. There's a few things in there I'd like to pilfer, which I probably will, because it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So yes, get the wagon on the road, start working on the coupe. We cast our minds back to episode 7 when I came home with the single round headlight grille, and I slapped it all together with parts I could find on eBay. I didn't actually have any springs to retain the light, so I just slung a piece of welding wire in there and hoped for the best. Now today I've actually got the kit to refurbish all that, complete with springs and new plastic retaining clips, so I've gone through and added those into this light assembly. Now these light assemblies don't have a little port for the park light, but I do have some on order. So for the sake of today's episode, we'll just imagine that the ports are there for the park lights, and I've found some kind of solution to get those park lights in, which I haven't figured out yet. Because these are, I guess you just don't do sealed beams with XCs. Because I need the port, and I need some way of keeping that light fixed behind it so I can put the light into some kind of bracket. So am I going to need to make some kind of bracket behind there I can put a light bulb into that's going to sit off the light but shine the light into the back of the light bulb. This sounds like I'm rambling now and my arm's getting sore. So I'll re-kit both of these in anticipation of reinstalling them, but it might not be done by the end of this video because I'm still waiting on parts. All the reproduction parts have been installed. Both buckets have a retaining spring on them, and I have done my best to adjust the light buckets so they're in some semblance of an order, which I'll obviously be adjusting when I get the car back together. Maybe if I bodge some kind of bracket behind here, I can just stick this park light bulb into the bracket and then mount the bracket there. That way you'll get park lights through the little window in the back of the sealed beam, and then we'll be cooking with gas. It's too bad I don't have any bulbs left, but I can always buy those tomorrow. So I'm going to knock some brackets up, see what hole size I need with a step drill, hopefully put my park light bulbs in there and tick one more thing off my roadworthy to-do list that I may not have mentioned. Alright, proof of concept for my park light bulb sealed beam unit solution, and I think that's going to work. I'm just going to rivet that in and then I will mount up the park light into it and do the next one. Alright, second one is almost done. Obviously, since this is well and truly hidden, I'm not going to do anything about making that pretty. I'm just going to slap it on and pretend everything's fine. And there we have it. Park lights. Now I wait. Okay, now that I've done some of the easy stuff, it's time to get on to the second most complicated thing, which is to reinstall that seatbelt. And the rain has just started to come down, so hopefully this evening is going to cool down a bit. That'd be nice. And I'll get this seatbelt in. And then after that I'll start to tackle the inlet manifold, because I do have an extra tube of RTV. I found it this afternoon, so that's good. But for now, seatbelt time. I think my best approach for this seatbelt install is to attack it from inside here and pull the belt out from behind here and then reinstall everything else. It's not going to match the existing belts, but it's only the driver's side belt that's worn out, because it's the belt that's got 347,000 kilometres on it. All the rest are fine. Alright, seatbelt is in. It's 9:30 at night, and that turned out to be quite a sweaty ordeal because the seatbelt slot in the bench seat doesn't accommodate multiple belts, because the belt that attaches to the clip, it's adjustable, so it's got two loops on it, and I couldn't stuff them both through the hole at once, or even one after the other, so I thought of a workaround, and this will do, without going into too much more detail. So, seat belt, clips on. Alright, I've had enough. Alright, it's the following day. I now have some 4-watt T8.5 bulbs, which hopefully fit into these fittings. And I think I'm going to do a proof of concept with the light fitting in the car to make sure these fittings work and the light shines through to give me park lights. I'm rapidly running out of weekends, so that will be that. I'll wrap this up and I'll have to get on to the rest of the stuff throughout the week, because I'm chafing to go through that coupe over there, hardtop, and see what's what. But for the time being, I'll chuck a bulb in this, put it back in the car, and we'll see if this is going to work. Okay, proof of concept time. Let me just go turn the park lights on, see if this works. Yes! It looks like a park light to me. So now I just have to wait for my other seal beams to arrive and I can wrap all this up. So join me next time. And I'll probably go through that coupe, because I'm really gagging to go through that. And for the time being, I will hopefully put this car back together again, do that manifold, get it retested and registered, because I really want to drive the wagon around. Having the wagon at the point where I can drive it around is the point where I can say, okay, now I can go play with the coupe. The car I've always wanted, forever and ever.